Moving right into it, this is the part 3 for profit and loss statement accounting series. So in part 2 earlier on, we talked about how we categorize the revenue and the expenses, and also we talk about the sales record and the expenses record here. If you check it now, you see that this is now feed up than the previous one that we did in the part 2, because I had to try to record the sales as if we have a full year. So you see that you see some days in January, some days in February, March, April, May, June, July, September, October, November to December here. So now let's say you keep on recording your sales revenue and your sales record till December. There is a way that you can either get what you're working on every week. If you want to see the performance of your business every week, you want to be able to check what you or your profits and loss stands every week, or you want to see it monthly, or you want to see it quarterly, or maybe yearly. Depends on how you want to see it. So but here in this video we are going to be learning how you see it monthly, and but it's just for you to just change the date range, and you'll be able to get it for weekly and the rest. So it's very simple. It's what you can go around with. So so this is the sales record now being all populated, and also the expenses record also all populated. You see in the sales record on 1st of January, selling in evening wear 3 pieces which are 2,000 naira, and the amount is 4,000 naira. 3rd of January, the next sale is 15th of January, 16th of January. So you keep on filling it when you're working it with your own on your own side. You keep on filling it with what with your daily sales. Let's say on the 3rd of January you sold almost 3 to 4 categories of your goods. So it can be 3rd of January, 3rd of January, 3rd of January, 3rd of January until you are able to finish the record before you move to 4th of January. So that's how you do it, and as you are doing it, it will keep on populating itself in your record. So let's create a new sheet for the profit and loss statement. So let's say we have the profit, and loss statement account. So the first thing you have to have here is that you have to remember what I said in the first video during the introduction, when I was explaining that your revenue is what comes into the business, and it's mostly come from the sales of goods, or the sales of your primary service, and also the cost of goods or cost of services, which is your expenses, one of your expenses, and also your operational expenses. And we said that your gross profit is you removing your cost of sales from the revenue, and after you remove that, you also calculate the operational expenses and remove it from your gross profit to get your operational income. And also, let's say you have non-operational expenses or non-operational income, you either add the non-operational income to it, or you remove non-operational expenses, maybe from interest from loan or the interest you get from investments. So, and after that, you now get the net profit. So we are going to put all of that into this table here. We have the sales of, let's say, sales of goods, or you can fill it with revenue inflow. You can try to just arrange it the way you want it. And also we also have cost of goods here. Cost of goods depends on what you want to arrange it with. And also we have the operational expenses. So let's say we don't have okay, so operational expenses, and if you have non-operational expenses you can also put it, but so let's put it. I don't think we need it, but let us put it. We don't need it most of times, but let's say you have, you can just fill it up here. So let's try to insert some insert some rows there to give it enough space between each other. So I will not want to go back and be listing all of this category one by one. Since we already have our category here, you can just go to the category here, then pick what you're selling, copy, just make your work easy, go to log and you paste it under here. This is what you're selling. So, and also, what are you making? You are still making almost the same thing. This is what you're making also. So other operational expenses, you can go to the category. What is there is the 1 2 3 4 5 here. So the expenses, these are the expenses here. So you just take it, and so these are the expenses here, the rent, utility bills, WhatsApp tip, and everything. So let us try to rearrange it so as to give it a little bit of format. So we can, okay, I think let us arrange the month first. So we have January, so we want it to record for January, and so when you put your January and you put your February here, February, and you continue with this and you just pick it up, Excel is going to help you complete the month. So this is already December, it's going to autofill it. To give it enough spacing, you can drag the width yourself. I think it's fine like this. So let us arrange the header, and here we can give some little bit of space so that everything can be contained in it. So let's make all of this an header. Let's format it. So I think this is fine. Then we can increase the size to be smaller. I think can make it bold. Okay, yeah, it's fine like this. So can just, yeah, it's fine like this. So let's continue. And for here, since we already format sales of goods like this, we want to format cost of goods. We don't need to click it and start formatting it. You can just use the format painter here, and you pick the format you want to use. You want to use the format of this sales of goods, you want to use it on this cost of goods here. So you see, you just put it on it. And let's say we want to use the same format for another one. We click on the format painter, and since we have highlighted this guy, it's going to, we just put on operational expenses, then it's going to highlight it. So I think we still need to expand this a bit. Yeah, it's fine now. So to make it, we can align this to this side, yeah, so as to make it look good. Align it to this side. So I think this is good like this. So the next thing we have to do is our date range. Our January starts from 01 2024. This is January, starting from January, and the end of that month, since we don't want to be checking our calendar and be filling the date range one by one as it is here. We can just use the formula to get end of the month. So we put this is the formula to get end of the month. When you're writing formula in Excel, you use equal to start it. So end of the month is it returns the serial number of the last day of the month before or after a specified number of months. So now let's say you click on the end of the month. So it's going to, what is the start date? When you look at this, it's asking for the start date. The start date that we want it to be is January 1st. Then how many months do you want it to calculate? If you So but here the counting starts from 0. So when you write 0 there, it's going to only calculate January. If you want it to calculate January, February, March, that is, it's going to pick the last day of March, it's going to be 2, that is 0, 1, 2. If you want it to, let's say that means that when, if you are doing it as a quarter, that will be January, February, March. So let's say you are doing it for 6 months, it's going to be 5 months. And let's say you are doing it for a whole year, it's going to be 12. So with that you can get the end of that month. But here we only want each month, so we are going to pick the series as 0. At 0, then we close the formula. So you see that here is giving a number. Why is it giving a number? Is because when you check the format here, it's general, is not date as we want. So you pick date yourself. You see now it is now 31st of January. So we want to let it give us the first day of February, the last day of February, first day of March, last day of March. So you just do another equals to here, and like this, when we end date here, we want you to start the next day in this place. So you just pick the last date here, then you do +1 and you put equals to. So now this is now February, then January 1st of February. So we want the same formula here to be here. So you now see it's 29th of October, that is, it's the end of the month to this number 1. So I just copy the formula here. So what we now have to do is to what we want to, this formula that is here, the formula is the previous one here +1, and the formula here is also the end of the month of this one. The first formula is the last one here +1, and this second formula is the end of the month of this month. So you can take it and extend it to December, and it's going to fill it up. So or if Excel is giving you this hash sign, it means that the space is not enough to display all the numbers. So you can try to, or you just highlight everything and double click on the width. So it's going to give it enough space for everything, but sometimes you won't like it because some words are longer and it's not going to be aligned very well. Yeah, so but that's how to do it. So now we are done with the date range. Then we have to start filling the profit and loss stuff. What is there is that you just have to understand one formula to fill up your profit and loss um, um, accounting statement. You don't need it's just one formula that is going to solve everything. So now let me try to break it down for you. What we wanted to fill for us in January is that in this cell we wanted to fill for us the kaftan that is sold for January into this cell, all of the kaftans. And in this cell we wanted to fill up all the amount of corporate dressing that is being filled, how much we made from corporate dressing for that month. The next cell is going to be how much we make from casual wear sales for that month, and sales streetwear is how much we made from selling streetwear for that month. So that is what we want to calculate. So let's say here now this cell is going to be how much of casual wear made sold in June. So now this is how the formula is going to be. We want it to go to this sales record and check from, let's say we are picking this cell now, we are filling for this cell. This cell is that how much of kaftan did I sell this January. So now we want this sheet to go to this record book and check from 1st of January, that is the date range, to the last day of January here. Maybe it is 25, but it's going to pick the ranges from 01 to 31st. So it's going to check that range and check all the kaftan that is being filled in this category and add up all the amounts of that kaftan. So let's say the kaftan is 5 and all of it is, you sold 2,000, you sold 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 6,000. It's going to add every one of them and give you the total of it in your profit and loss account, this cell here. So let me move this guy to this side here. So I think I can move it. So I think I want, can move to the end. So I want it to be before this. Yeah, it's fine. So I want it to be before that one. So the sales record, the expenses record, and profit and loss. So now let's continue. So what I'm saying is that is what is going to, it's going to fill that amount of the category that you sold for that month. And if it is week, if you actually make this one weekly, it's going to actually feed it for you, the amount of it that is being done weekly or monthly or quarterly. It just depends on how you arrange your dates here in this place that is going to fill. That will be the date range is going to work with. So now the formula is that if you try to, you can write it down in your book. I'm going to write it in under the video, so you can check it in the description. So we want it to add all the amount of kaftan sold from the 1st of January to the 31st of January. So now the formula is what we are going to you have to get. The moment you get the formula, then we can highlight it all for all of this space. So we just have to just do like this, copy it to December and make it come back down, and it's going to fill everything up. So that means that if we are able to get one right, we'll get everything right. So this is where you have to listen up and you can end the class, or you can end the video even after you grab this, because that's the most important thing. So now this is it. You put is equals to and you use sum ifs, that is sums, because we're having almost 3 to 4 criteria here. That is sum all of the amounts when the date range is starting from on the 1st, and when that is one condition, and the second condition is when the date range, that is 31st of January, is ending, is the date is ending at 31st of January. Okay, that has covered for that. And also check for the category, that is the third condition, if it is kaftan. So the first condition, it is that the date must be equals to or greater than on the 1st. The second criteria is that the date must be less than or equals to 31st of January. And the third criteria is that inside the category, just pick kaftan. So now let's go into it. So that is the 3 categories. So when you have some ifs, this is some ifs, you double click on it on the formula. So let me start again so that you can get it. Some ifs here, so now when you check it, it's going to be, it's showing to us some range, then criteria range, then the criteria. So now the sum range is that go to this sales record, sum all of these amounts, that's the sum range. So then you put in comma. So when you go back to your profit and loss, you see that it has picked table 5 amounts here. So sum all of these amounts if the date range. What is the criteria range? The criteria range is the date range. This is the date here. So you pick another one. If this date is, so you put a quote, is greater or equals to that to, greater or equals to, so you have to close your semicolon. So that to is and, use the symbol and, to what is equals to, you go to profit and loss, then you pick equals to the date range here, then you put another comma. So moving to that, then that is the first, that's the first criteria. Then if you check it down, it's asking for the second criteria range. The second criteria is that the date also, you go back to sales record, the date also, then you put your comma, the date also, another. If you check this place, you see that this is where you can be tracking your formula. So is less or equals to, you go back to your profit and loss, the last date here, you pick it. Okay, I think formula. Let's open it back. Yeah, we did not put and. Equals to, don't forget the 2 is and. So and equals to, so this is the and, it's 31st of January. So then you put a comma. So the second, another criteria range is that from the category, if you are checking for all the months, if you close it now, it might work. If you close it now, it's, see, okay, this is the, let's check it if we don't put some, okay, no comma, yeah. So now we did not tell him to choose kaftan, so it gives us 50,000. So what it does there is that it only choose from that first, from the 1st of January to the 31st of January. If you go back to this sales record, everything we made, if you calculate it, 4,000 plus 9,000 is 13,000. 13,000 plus 5,000 is 15,000, is 18,000, plus 20,000 is 38, plus 30,000 plus 12,000 is 50,000. So because we only give in what, we only give it two ranges, and the two ranges is the 1st of January to the 31st of January. So it only calculates what comes in January. So now we want it to only pick kaftan for this cell. So now you can go to, we go to profit and loss, then you, let's go back to the formula. So we continue the last formula here, we put a comma. So the next criteria range is that go to the sales record and check this category. Inside this category, after you have put the category, put a comma, choose what is what, choose kaftan for me. So choose kaftan, then you can enter it. See now it's now 9,000. How many kaftan do we sell in January? Go to the sales record, is what, is 9,000. That is just it. So you can go over it again to check if you don't get it, but that is how it's gonna be. So now going back to, so you can just copy this formula one by one and be changing your date range. Let's say you want to copy it, so okay, I think you don't need to do that, but don't need to do that. So now we want to use this formula for all of this month. So we wanted to go to August and check how many kaftan was sold in August. We wanted to, in this cell, we wanted to go to March on the sales record and add up all the casual wear that was sold in March. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to use it. So let's say we put it up on every places like this. You see everything is recording 0, and here everything is recording 0. Why? If you check it here, you will see that the date range is picking. It's, we did not tell Excel to stick to this row. So Excel moves as it moves from this side. Excel 2 was moving the formulas to this corresponding cells that you pick here. Now that from this 9,000, now this is this second cell, and this is the third cell from the top here, and this is the cell beside it. So when you check the cell we pick here, the cell beside it, and the second one and the third one. So the Excel was moving the formula across, but we don't want it to move the formula across. So we are going to make the formula become static. We want it to become static on either the column or either the row. So for this cell that is moving here, we want it to be static on this column. That is, it should only be moving on this column, and when it is going like this, it should not change on the row. And for here, we want it to be moving across this row. We don't want it to change this row. We don't need to move down into another row. Just continue going with this row. So what you can use to do that one is $sign. You have to put the $sign to lock it. So we are going to lock the this row for the dress, for the sales of good, and we are also going to lock the date range. So let's do that. Okay, so now we go back here into this formula. So you go back here, then we go to the first date range, which is D3. Then we lock it. We lock the, the D is the column and the 3 is the row. So we don't want it to leave the row. So you lock the row. You put it at the back of the row. So and D4. Yes, so the D is the column and the 4 is the row. We don't want it to move out of the row 4, so you lock the row. So, and also C6 is for the kaftan. We don't want it to leave this colon here, this C colon, so you put that at the back of colon 6, but it's going to be moving across the row. So when you press enter and you put it over everything, now it's not going to move. So you see now, and it won't work, or to this place it won't work. You see that every one of them is not calculated appropriately. So the best way to do it is actually to copy the formula. You're going to copy the formula, then you paste it on the area you want it to autofill. Then you now press Ctrl V to paste it. So now it records appropriately. So if you check you go to the sales record, you will see that for February we sold casual wear, asoebi, and ready to wear in loan. So let's go to the sales record. Yeah, February, that is streetwear, asoebi, and casual wear. Those are just the sales. Yes, asoebi, casual wear, and ready to wear. Those are the wears we sold, and that is why everything here is just that. So, and also for the cost of goods recording. So before we move to that, I think the next thing that we have to calculate now is the total sales that we did. So we can have that here, total sales. So that will be equals to the addition of this. So you put your sum of this and you press enter. So you can try to keep a little bit of formatting here, then maybe bold, and maybe just that, and put in the center. Yeah, total sales. So total sales for January is 50,000. Then you just have to extend the formula to the rest, and it's going to add it up. Total sales for November is 6,600 and 6,600. So 66,000, sorry, for November. So it's add up everything. So you can just put it, yeah, so that you can make it looking bigger. Or maybe you can give it some stuff. So it's kind of just to show the importance of it. So that is total sales that was done in all of those months. So, and also for the expenses, it's almost the same thing with the formula that is here. What is just different is that means that you can copy the formula and you can still paste it here, but what you just have to do is that we have to know that this formula is not picking the amount in sales record, is picking the amount in expenses, the date range in expenses, the date range in expenses, and also the category in expenses. So you can't use it, so we have to delete it and build a new formula for cost of price, but it is still actually almost same formula, but we are referencing another sheet here. So that means we are going to have equals to sum ifs then go to the sum range, goes back to the expenses, then add up this sum and put a comma. So add up this sum, and the first date range is that add up this sum when the date range is here. This date range is not what we want. I want you to pick all of highlights, so let the arrow highlight. Yes, so check this date, that is what greater, that means it's starting from on the first, greater or equals to, I told you that the 2 is and equals to, you go back to the profit and loss account, equals to the first date, January here, then you put another comma, and also the date range must be less than the 31st, that is must be in that range. So that will be, you already put a comma here, then you go back to expenses record and you pick the cost price. No, the date range must also be, so put a comma, then must be less or equals to, must be less or equals to, this is the 2, equals to, must be less or equals to, you go back to the profit and loss, then you pick the last date, must be less or equals to that, then you put a comma, and it must be picking from the category. So the expenses record, it must be picking from the category of, and that category, sorry, in that category, okay, I think we don't put a comma, so let's go put a comma. So let's go put a comma, that category, yeah, it must pick kaftan. So that's it, you can close it, but before we close it, let's just try to bring this, we don't want these rows to be changing, so that means that we don't want this is the row here, we don't want 3 to be changing, the row 3 should remain stable but should be changing the column, so you put the last sign at the back of row 3 that we don't want it to change. Then also 4, don't want it to change, but and here we don't want the column to change. For this place we don't want the column C to change, so you put it at the back of C. So then you can close your, then you can enter it. So that means that no um so so now the date must be less and greater or equals to the first date range, then it must be less or equals to the last date range so that it can be inside the date range. Then you close it and you copy it and paste it over all the expenses, since this cover all the expenses here. So you can just control V. So yeah, let's fill it up. So these ones that are empty here, that no space, you can delete it. And yeah, this also should not have anything. Yeah, so that means that for January the rent of 2000 was paid. In March 500, 4000 was paid. In April for WhatsApp TV advertisement, 1000 was paid. In this is going to be June for logistics, so if you check the expenses you see June, yes, logistics was paid 1000, yes. So and that is how it is, and from there we can calculate, from there we can calculate our total cost of sales. For total cost of sales, total cost of sales we have equals to the sum of the total goods sold, so that will be sum of what we have here. We close it, yes, and we can highlight the formula to the end of the year. So let's put insert a column so that we can calculate our gross profit. Insert here, so I think we can give a little space, yes. So insert on that one, so we have the gross profit here. So if you want to still be filling more cost of goods, maybe there's another new line of product, you can just insert a column. So let's say the gross profit is going to be equals to the total revenue that is being made minus the total cost of goods, that is the gross profit. So then you try to highlight it to the end of the month. So let's do some little bit formatting, so we can format this guy. Okay, we first of all we need this format on all of them, so we just format painter, then you highlight where you want it. You want it to be here, then it is. So we can still format the painter for this format, and we want it to be here, so then it is this. So you can try to insert a colon here, so as to, there's no need for this, yeah. So that's it. So that's our gross profit, and the net profit is not going to be, so let us do the total operational cost first. So let's give this little space. Okay, so total operational cost, total operational cost. So you can have equals to sum of what is here. So then it enters and you highlight it to the end. Okay, so then the net profit for the business, net profit is going to be the gross profit minus the total operational cost, and you have equals to, then you can open the bracket, total cost minus this. So you close it and you going to highlight the end, and that's it. So you can put the format here on this just to format it. We can still do the formatting here. So just to make the net profit with some little bit of significance, we can try to make it not bigger than the rest. So I think this is better this way. So that is it. This is the profit and loss statement account. So you know that at the end of January you made 28,000 net profit, and you have total revenue of 50,000, and you in February you made a net profit of 15,000 and total revenue was 42,000. In March total revenue was 113,000 and your net profit was 23,500. So from here you can be able to know how your business is performing, and you can be able to get to know how much you're making from your business and how much you're losing. If you're losing also, it's going to show to you a snapshot into your business performance. So thank you for staying to the end